Okay, so thank you for having me, and welcome. Congratulations again to the Flow team. It's been really fulfilling to see an independent team to put together such well-received work. And it's also been interesting to see Blender being part of that story. So like I have people congratulating me on the Oscar. It's a wonderful feeling, I have to say. We do try to put as much emphasis as possible to actually really say that this is done by an independent team. But people just, take Blender and I can do that. That's what Blender is for. But nevertheless, of course, it's really fun and it's been an interesting journey. So let's go. Okay, so this session is about open source innovation. So how do you keep a popular open source project from collapsing onto itself while keeping relevant for the decade to come? And Sergey Sharybin, he's the head of development at Blender. He said, well, if you're wondering how to stay relevant, you're probably irrelevant already, and you should be terminated. But that's the Eastern European speak for keep trying, buddy. So let's try and figure this out. So before we start, I'd like to say a few things about Blender. It is more than a tool. It's really a community project. And try to really get us on the same page. So how does this Blender work? And like, what kind of work happens in a project like Blender? Because I understand this is obvious to contributors, but it might not be obvious for everyone else. So I want to share some info about how things are organized. And this is an overview based on roles. So at the center of it, there is, of course, the Blender project is the heart of everything. And then there are a few actors around it. One of them is the makers, so people that are actually doing the works, designers, developers, technical artists, people that type code, they make the stuff, and they make it happen, and they bring it into the project. To make this possible at a certain scale, you need some coordination. You need people that facilitate these contributions. Development coordinators, module owners, project leads. And you also need some leadership and management to make sure that there is a strategy, that there is empowerment and clarity for the people that are getting involved, and that everybody knows what they are doing. So Blender has a development website. It's a network of websites where this kind of communication and coordination happens. This is one of the main ones, the projects portal, where like issues are handled, PRs are reviewed, very long discussions about what good code looks like happen. There is a development blog where contributors share development updates, upcoming plans, and so on. There is a developer documentation. It's like a very large set of documents with information on how to get started, how to get involved, like the developer handbook. So, I'm an experienced software developer. How do I get this Blender thing to work on my machine? And there is really a lot of that, a lot of effort being put in making sure that everything is publicly available, everything is documented and clear. There is a Blender chat. It's like a Blender Slack, but it's open source software. It's open and public by default. We really put a lot of effort to make it easy, like to follow conversations. You don't even need an account. You just go and you can start browsing things freely. And we try to make minimal effort to start conversations there as well. Blender is organized in modules, which are essentially areas of interest that reflect the structure of the software itself. So there are 5 core modules and 11 feature modules. So each one of these modules has like module members, owners, an agenda. They have public meetings and reporting activities. And modules are really the gateway to become a Blender contributor. It's one of the best ways to get involved because you can find an area of interest that is relevant to you, and then you can find a communication channel where the people who have the same interest are gathered, and you can start having a conversation. Like the goal is to really connect with people as quickly as possible. You can really get to talk to the people who are maintaining, developing that area immediately with zero barrier of access. So we're talking about the type of work. So what is the kind of work that happens? So there are like 2 types of work. One is called module work, which is essentially maintenance, focused development within the scope of a module itself. And then there are projects. And projects are more overarching, so across modules. So they usually require a bit more coordination, more stakeholders. They have a beginning, they have an end. They have like different requirements than the everyday things of like making sure that issues are handled, bugs are fixed, and so on. And projects are part of a roadmap. So there is a roadmap for Blender. There is a vision, something on really the product level, what is Blender about? And it is part of my job also to set and to coordinate this alongside with many key contributors, of course. And it is like, the bright future, like the edge of imagination, which then meets the reality of the resources and the skills that we have available. We are not going to talk about the roadmap here because there is not a lot of time. And there is also plenty of information online. So, of course, one of the important aspects of making these visions possible is the funding. So how do we pay for all this? And the funding is currently mostly divided in an even way between individual contributions, so people that actually provide donations, and industry or like corporate contributions that come from our industry relations. And this process that I describe is all very much publicly documented. We have annual reports that describe in detail the activities of the project. They give insight in even the finance and the people and many other aspects. The report for year 24 is coming soon. It will be published on blender.org in the next weeks. So some more updates. Previously, on the open source days last year, I did a talk about Blender adoption in the industry. I wanted it to be like a little bit controversial, and mostly indeed around the topic of industry adoption. And I also outlined some solutions. So what happened since then? Well, there was a topic of making a clearer CLA process for contributors. So we have a well-defined CLA process. So in November last year, I started a public conversation with the Blender community, and I worked out also a strategy to make individuals and corporations feel safe and respected when they are contributing to the project. And at the same time, some more conversation happened on the corporate side. And so today, I'm also proud to announce our latest development contributor, Industrial Light and Magic. So please give a round of applause to the legal team for setting aside some time during the AI battle to work on this and to actually make it happen. So publishing a statement to outline the safety of the general public license, that was something a little bit more tricky to do. And I've been working on a document that defines what this GPL contribution looks like. And this is something that is very much tailored to a specific audience. So before publishing online, I'm making sure that this is actually something that then will be aligned with the expectations of legal departments especially, and that makes like a strong statement from the Blender Foundation side towards the public about what is the position around the GPL and integrating Blender with proprietary pieces of code. And another thing that I was trying to be really open about was like, okay, I want to connect. So connect with tech leadership. So this actually happened, and the conversations are still happening, and things take time. Blender, of course, is not the priority of everyone, so I understand that some conversations might take some time. And I'm working to try and bring studios on board of the project and as key contributors to the project. And I hope that this year we see some exciting updates. Yesterday at DigiPro, I was talking to several artists, and to these, it's really clear that the adoption is growing and there is a very positive sentiment. And I want to try to echo and represent that also in some form of public statement that we can make that, that helps to have this conversation to move forward. So, what is the state of Blender today? Well, Blender is a mature project. It's been around for almost 20 years. So here are just some quick fun numbers as usual. Right now, I took the screenshot now, 10,000 people are using Blender on Steam. So instead of playing games, people are using Blender. We have like, a dashboard for like our extension platform. So Blender has extensions like add-ons, and since like a year, we provide a way for synchronizing those add-ons and downloading them from the internet. And this is something that is off by default, of course. And so if you enable this on Blender Startup once a day, we check like on the server if there are any updates. So in a way, this gives us some insight in how many people are using Blender every day. So that's like around 200,000 individual connections every day. And which is an interesting number. Like we don't know how many people turn the feature on or off, but it's still like it's not 2 people using this feature, which is interesting. On Snapcraft, which is the Ubuntu Linux distribution platform, there are also like 80,000 connections, individual active users per month. So that's also very significant on the Linux side of things. We have issue management. So like we focus on keeping Blender stable, fixing issues, having dashboard to keep track of like how many issues we are and really stay on top of it. Last year I showed this slide, which is my favorite, that shows the speed and the efficiency of the community in resolving issues. So in yellow, you can see that like half of the issues, they get usually a response within a day, and within a week or two, like more than half of the issues, they get actually resolved. And we keep focusing on this and doing stability-focused releases. We do 3 releases per year. We have the LTS support program, the long-term support version of Blender, which is 1 release per year that then is supported for 2 years. And the amount of fixes that goes into the releases is massive. So there is really a lot of focus and attention to make sure that Blender is stable and reliable. So we have all this. How do you make the balance with innovation? And what is innovation? So here are a couple of examples. So this is a grease pencil-driven geometry node generated setup. So this is like something that is based on drawing using the grease pencil tools, and then using that as an input for a generative system to make this really fun and wacky setup possible. And it really shows like giving controls to artists to build their own tools, it leads to this very unexpected and fun results. And this is like fully community-led development, people playing and having a lot of fun. On the other side of this type of creativity, this is like an MCP to control Blender. So this came out of nowhere at some point. People were sharing this like if it was, I don't know, the invention of something never seen before, using the Blender API to generate stuff. And there is a lot of this. Blender is being used as a playground for AI experiments. This is Comfy UI. Integration in Blender using control nets for rendering, or like texture generation examples. There is like a lot of this stuff going on that is, Blender being available in public, people take it and do what they want. And now I want to show something else.
Oh, what's this? An Apple Pencil? Hey, is this yours? Any chance? Thank you so much. Nice. What are you doing here? I'm just using Blender. Is that free?
Yeah, it's free open source for Blender. And learn more about this on code.blender.org.
So bananas, thank you so much.
Okay, so, there was lots of excitement and positive response, like globally on this project. And then at the same time, in the Blender development forums, there were lots of questions and even criticism, like on the choice, like, why is it not Android? Why are you not doing texture painting? Why don't you want to go to the App Store? Why are you doing all the other things that, I am interested in? Why do you do this? And this, can get very, very tiring, because of course you want to be, open and share what kind of experiments you're doing. But then basically we need a way to better contextualize innovation. And so we want to introduce the concept of a Blender Lab, which is essentially a safe space for innovation, that basically to label these projects as experiments and remove pressure from the releases, give space to everybody to play around and keep things public. And this is not a novel thing in the Blender project. It was initially announced a few years ago, but of course, more information is coming soon about this. So a few takeaways. So innovation is possible thanks to the community contributions, but also it needs to be more systematic, also via having more funding for this and having also more corporate contributions to actually make this possible and more sustainable. And the challenge is, of course, to present a long-term vision in an appealing and concrete way. And focus is important, of course, to not just go into every single direction, to actually pursue something meaningful. And again, Blender developers are not just standing in their garden, they're looking outside and looking at what is being made product-wise, but also technology-wise. And investing in building strong industry relations is really something that can help Blender to keep growing and improving. And we need to keep to work to make the funding topic clearer and more actionable. So outlining better differences between donations and sponsored development, for example. I've seen that the challenges of keeping a balance between stability and innovation, production, R&D is the same also in very big studios. And it's the same challenges also they are shared in working with open source. And the best thing to do is to be aware of this and to keep communicating, especially if choices are controversial. And over the past year, especially thanks to some conversations with David Moran, Darren Grant, Nick Cannon, and Francois Chelevon, I've been feeling more and more included in this community. And so I want to express my gratitude to them, and I wish for these relationships to continue in the years to come. So thank you very much.